Our session today is a partnership between Pierce County Library System and Associated Ministries Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And our presenters today are Amy Allison and Robert Kamner. Amy Allison is Director of Community Mobilization at Associated Ministries. Since 2012, one of Amy's main responsibilities has been to oversee the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Robert Kamner is a retired educator who is serving as the site coordinator for the remote online VITA site sponsored by Goodwill of the Olympics and Rainier region. Throughout today's program, please type your questions as they occur to you into chat so we can keep track of those. And we'll be saving those questions for the end of our time together when we have a Q&A session. And at this point, Amy, I will hand it over to you.
Hi, welcome everyone. I have a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to begin to share my screen. And I'm going to talk generally about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program and what it looks like this year. Okay. All right, so the program that we provide is called VITA, which stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance. This year here in Pierce County, partners involved include Associated Ministries, Goodwill of the Olympics and Rainier region, and one of our key supporters, United Way of Pierce County. So what is VITA? VITA provides free income tax preparation services to low and moderate income taxpayers, generally those with incomes below $57,000 a year. AARP Tax Aid provides a similar service with a focus on those ages 60 plus. So AARP Tax Aid is also operating here in Pierce County, and they don't have the income limits that we do. There are a lot of benefits for the community from this program. First of all, VITA saves money for struggling taxpayers. The average fee that people paid for tax preparation services was nearly $300 in 2019. In 2019, more than 6,000 households in Pierce County were served by VITA and AARP at 26 different locations. In 2020, we served about half of that due to COVID closures. And obviously this year, we're also pretty constrained, so we're not serving quite as many this year. More than $6 million in tax refunds were received through these free tax services in Pierce County in 2019. So that's money that both benefited the households that received our services, but also the wider community as they are able to spend that money and it gets passed around through the community. And finally, IRS certified volunteers provide high quality, accurate service and connect taxpayers to other services as needed. Our VITA volunteers have a 98% accuracy rate with the IRS. So our services are really high quality. We had to input a lot of changes due to COVID-19. So these included, first of all, most tax preparation is taking place remotely, and taxpayers who can submit their documents electronically will complete an intake online. Since many taxpayers lack access to the internet, we are also providing in-person services for these taxpayers at some locations, but it looks slightly different than it did in the past. So mostly what we've been offering this year has been drop-off services. Taxpayers come into the site by appointment only to complete an intake and interview with a volunteer who scan and upload their documents to the tax software. Then the actual tax preparation takes place remotely, and the tax payer is scheduled for another appointment to pick up their finished return. And we've also implemented a lot of safety guidelines. So everyone is required to wear a face mask. We do no touch temperature checks. We have plexiglass shields between the taxpayers and the preparers. And we adhere to social distancing and hand sanitizing to keep everyone safe. Of course, given all these changes, this has greatly reduced the number of people we're able to serve this year. We are also offering extended free tax services here in Pierce County. So first of all, the IRS has extended tax season to May 17th, 2021. So a few of our in-person sites are extending the services. 2 of the sites are run by the VITA program and 2 by AARP. The first being Associated Ministries at 901 South 13th Street in Tacoma, which is going to be open on Wednesdays from 3 to 6 p.m. through April 28th. Second is Tacoma Housing Authority at Salishan on the east side of Tacoma. which is open Saturdays from 9 to 12 through May 1st. And for the AARP program, they're open at the Buckley Senior Center on Wednesdays and Fridays from 9 to 3 through May 14th. And Point Defiance Ruston Senior Center, which is open Saturdays from 9 to 3 through May 15th. Our online services are available through www.getyourrefund.org/PierceWA. This service will be available through May 17th with some limited post-tax season help available. Post-tax season would mean after May 17th for folks who still need to get their taxes done because they filed an extension, or maybe they need to do an amendment or do prior year tax returns. I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Robert, now. He's going to talk a little bit more about the getyourrefund.org/PierceWA and online services.
Thank you very much. Give me a moment here to share my screen. There we go. Oops. There we go. Okay, hopefully you are now seeing my screen here. Is everyone able to see this all right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I will just make it nice and large so you can see it. All right, so I am the site coordinator for the online only remote tax preparation services through getyourrefund.org. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about how that works and how you can, as a taxpayer and a client, organize things to make this process go more smoothly for you. So what is getyourrefund.org? Get Your Refund is an initiative of Code for America, which is a national nonprofit dedicated to helping connect Americans to essential government services through the internet by designing easy to navigate websites and mobile apps. Get Your Refund is only one of a number of the initiatives of Code for America. Get Your Refund offers two different ways to help clients file their federal and state income taxes. There's free tax preparation by IRS certified volunteers through the VITA program, and that's what I'll be talking about today. But it is also possible through Get Your Refund to, without charge, do it yourself through a partnership with TaxSlayer, which is a leading tax prep software company. So now I'd like to talk a little bit about how Get Your Refund works. The first step is that you create an account at https://www.getyourrefund.org/PierceWA. You answer about a 30-minute online questionnaire about your personal and tax situation. You upload tax-related documents to your Get Your Refund account from your computer and/or your smartphone, usually by first taking photos of your documents. Your file is referred to the remote online VITA site sponsored by Goodwill of the Olympics and Rainier region. VITA volunteers then contact you by mail, text message, and/or phone calls as needed to seek more information and documents that are needed to prepare an accurate federal tax return. An IRS certified volunteer tax preparer prepares your return. A different IRS certified tax preparer conducts a quality review of your return, double checking for accuracy and completeness. Your quality reviewer calls you to go over your tax return with you. After you approve, your tax return is filed with the IRS. Over 95% of the time, the return is filed electronically, but in a few cases, the return must be mailed to you and then you sign it and mail it into the IRS. This entire process is overseen by a volunteer site coordinator and assistant site coordinator and the financial services programs manager who is paid staff at Goodwill. So how do you create an account at Get Your Refund? On your phone or computer, you go to this link. It is very important to include PierceWA at the end of the URL to guarantee that your account will be referred to us in Pierce County. If you do not include PierceWA, it is likely that your account will be referred to a VITA site in King County, but I'm sure they do a good job too. All right, so after you go to that link, this is the screen you're going to see. What you'll be doing the very first time is you'll be clicking the Get Started button. But one of the things that you can do after you have done the online interview, if you need to go back and upload some more documents, you can sign back in again using some information that you'll be provided. On this front screen, there are also two other pieces of information that are useful. If you need assistance getting your stimulus check, Get Your Refund has a variety of resources that can help you with that. And if you've already filed your taxes and have questions about your stimulus check, there is an FAQ that will help you figure out how you can still get your stimulus money. If you click Get Started, you will see this screen next. There are 3 options, but the one we're going to be concentrating on is File Taxes with Help. If you click the top link, File Taxes Myself, you will be taken to the do-it-yourself tool through TaxSlayer. Now, if you do some advanced preparation for the online questionnaire, it'll go more quickly for you, and you'll probably feel more comfortable with the process. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to help prepare for the online questionnaire. You should gather these documents and have them in front of you. A government-issued photo ID, such as a driver's license, state identification card, etc., for yourself and for your spouse if you're filing as married, filing jointly. Your Social Security card and the Social Security cards of anyone else on the return, such as a spouse, children, or other dependents. If you or anyone else on the return has an ITIN instead of a Social Security number, that's fine. Have the ITIN card or the ITIN notification letter with you. You'd also want all tax-related documents and forms, such as W-2 form, 1099-R for retirees, SSA 1099 for people receiving Social Security, etc. The whole alphabet soup of IRS forms that you might get from a bank, from your employer, from the government, etc. Don't worry if you don't have all this information at hand at the beginning. You can always add more documents later, but it's more efficient if you have as much as possible now when you're first signing up. As a next step, you will select which year or years you want to have a tax return filed for. Most people are just 2020, but you can do any one of two or all of 2020, 2019, 2018, and 2017. On the next screen, you're going to be asked a few additional questions to make sure that you qualify for VITA services. If you earned money from a rental property, or you happen to own a farm, or earned more than $66,000 in 2020, then unfortunately you're not eligible to have your tax return prepared by VITA. You'll be asked to share your email address. You will be asked whether you want to be contacted by email or by text or both. And then on the next screen, you will be asked to decide whether you wish to consent to a variety of different uses for the information. None of these consents will lead you to have any personal identifiable information shared with anyone. This is all about gathering statistics. So the consent to use is that you allow us to count your return and reports. And that's simply a matter of this. If we had 200 returns and you did not give us the consent to use, then we would report 199 returns. Consent to disclose is that you allow us to send some tax information to the tax software company and financial institution you specify, if any. The next one, the relational EFIN, is that you allow, in this case, Goodwill to report data to their parent organization. And then global carry forward is really for your benefit. If you check this, then in future years, if you use a different VITA site than this remote site this year, then the other VITA site that you use will be able to see some of your information that you've already submitted this year to make the process go more quickly. And if you want all the legal details about these consents, you can click on that box at the bottom. All right, now there are a fair number of screens. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to go through some of them just to give you an idea of some of the questions and the kinds of questions that Get Your Refund will ask through the online questionnaire. So it asks whether you have a disability, or whether you were blind, a full-time student, or whether you were in the US on a visa. It then will ask you questions related to your marital status. Have you ever been legally married? And how you answer this question then that determines what other questions you will be asked. After you go through questions related to your marital status, whether you're divorced, whether you're separated, etc., you'll then be asked about dependents. You will then enter the names and some other information about the dependents that you might be eligible to claim as dependents on your tax return. You'll be asked whether someone in your family, you or somebody else, is a college or post-high school student. You'll then be asked a variety of questions about you and your spouse, if you're filing jointly, your work situation during 2020. You'll be asked whether anybody in the family got Social Security income, retirement income, or retirement contributions. Now notice that at the bottom, I've circled I don't know. You probably didn't notice it as I was going through these screens quickly, but you have the opportunity on any of these screens, not only to answer yes or no, but also to answer I don't know. What will happen if you click I don't know is that at some later point in the process, when you are working with a live human being, a VITA volunteer, you will be asked to clarify the information about that particular question. Don't ever hesitate to click I don't know. It's better to click I don't know if you're unsure than it is to take a guess and say yes or no. All right, after the questions, you answer all the questions on the online questionnaire. The next step is going to be to upload documents. I already went over a checklist of documents, but I'll highlight a couple of them here. You will need at a minimum to upload your Social Security number or ITIN card or letter, a current ID, and then it'll also ask you for employment tax documents and any other official tax documents. Again, as much as you can do in this first go round when you first sign up, it's more efficient that way, but anything you don't have currently, you can always go back and upload later. So now you'll be asked to attach photos of ID cards. So the best way to do that is through a smartphone. You take a picture of the ID. Please check it to make sure that it is clear and readable, and then you can upload it by clicking or tapping on the Select a File button. You will also be asked to attach photos of your Social Security card or ITIN for everyone in the household that might possibly be on the tax return. Now, the last thing that you need to upload in terms of identification is that you need to upload a selfie. That's a picture of yourself holding up your photo ID. It's okay if someone else takes the photo, but the idea behind this is so that we can see that your photo ID matches what you look like. And this is very important. We have to be able to see the entire ID. We have to be able to read your ID in the selfie, and we have to see it all clearly. Please do not upload a blurry, out of focus picture. So before you upload it, take a look at it on your phone. If it's blurry, out of focus, part of the ID is cut off, your top of your head is cut off, just take another selfie and try again. All right, now you'll be asked to collect some tax documents for uploading. Probably among the most important ones are your employment documents. And then there's a catch-all near the end here to share any additional documents, such as a care provider statement for childcare, student account information if you or a member of your family is a full-time student at a college. And then lastly, or close to last, you will be asked to provide your bank details below. You only have to provide your bank details if you want direct deposit for a refund, or if you want the IRS, if you owe money, if you want the IRS to take the money directly out of your bank account. And if for any reason you are uncomfortable providing your bank details here online, you can wait and do that later on the phone with your quality reviewer at the end of the process, who will take that bank information from you over the phone and then enter it directly in your tax return. All right, and then at the end here, I wanted to give you an idea of something you won't see, but we see at our end as volunteers, which is, I wanted to show you what it looks like in the back and forth. That's exactly what I was hoping would not happen. There we go, sorry. The kind of back and forth that can occur between a client and a VITA volunteer. So this is this exchange is actually both by text and by email. So you can see at the top, we got your selfie, but it's very blurry. The ID cannot be read. Would you mind trying to take a new picture and upload it again? And we send out another link. The person responds, adds two documents, tried to send two more, hopefully this works, etc. So this is a very friendly, user-friendly back and forth between a real human being, a VITA volunteer here in Pierce County, and our clients. So that's a brief review of how the Get Your Refund system works. It works quite well. And we hope that we will see some of you online shortly. Thank you. And now back to you, Amy. Oh, I have to click stop share. There we go.
Thank you so much. That was really, really informative. Okay, I'm going to share a little bit about some of the changes that have occurred in taxes related to the stimulus and some of the laws that have been passed. Last year, the CARES Act, and this year, the American Recovery Act, to really help provide people with some tax relief due to the COVID, all the different economic challenges that have happened due to COVID. So I am going to share my screen again. Okay. Oh, I forgot this when I was sharing before. When I did share about some of the extended services, you may have noticed that there are appointment phone numbers, but like the rest of our program, the appointment lines are volunteer staff, and it can be difficult to get through. We do our best to respond in a timely fashion, but I would just encourage you to keep having a little bit of difficulties getting through to someone. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the stimulus and COVID tax relief. The official name of the stimulus payments is economic impact payments. So if you've already received one, you may have seen it. If it was direct deposit in your bank, that was labeled economic impact payment. That is the official name for the stimulus. You may remember this. This is the original stimulus that people received starting in April of last year. It was $1,200 for individuals with incomes up to $75,000, $2,400 for married couples with incomes up to $150,000, and $500 per eligible child, which in the first stimulus was children under age 17. And it was based on, the first stimulus was based on either your 2018 or 2019 tax return or Social Security income. There was a second stimulus that had the same income limits that was sent out beginning in December 2020. It was a smaller amount, $600 per single adult, $1,200 per married couple, and $600 for each child under 17. Now, what happens if you didn't get one or both stimulus checks? These stimulus checks were any adult U.S. citizen or legal resident was eligible for the stimulus, provided that they were not dependent on someone else's tax return. If you did not, if you fit that category and you didn't get one or both stimuluses, you can claim it on your 2020 tax return as a recovery rebate credit, which will be added to your refund. Now, caution note, if you owe the IRS or if you're having refunds garnished to pay a debt such as child support, the stimulus is going to be subtracted from what you owe. But if you don't have any debts like that, then you will receive that stimulus as a refund. This is something that can also happen for people who are typically non-filers. A non-filer is someone who usually, because their income is too low, they typically don't file a tax return. However, they're still eligible for the stimulus, so they can still file a tax return simply to claim that stimulus check. And we've done quite a few for a number of people this year, helping them to file their taxes for that reason. In addition, if you had a change in circumstances, you may qualify for additional stimulus. For example, if you had a baby in 2020, you now qualify for the additional $500 for that child. Or if your income declined below the stimulus limits. So for instance, if your income in 2018 or 2019 was too high for you to be eligible for the stimulus, but your income dropped in 2020 and now you're below it, you can also claim that on the 2020 tax return. Now, the third stimuluses have only recently gone out, and some of them are still going out to people. This, again, you're eligible if you're a U.S. citizen or a legal resident and your spouse if filing a joint return. Again, if you're not a dependent of another taxpayer, and the income limits were similar, $150,000 if married and filing a joint return or filing as a qualifying widow or widower, $112,500 if you're filing as head of household, or $75,000 for eligible individuals with any other filing status, which would be people who are filing as singles or people who are filing as married, filing separate. Excuse me. The third economic impact payment amount was $1,400 for each eligible individual, $2,800 for married couples, and then $1,400 for each qualifying dependent. And I want to say something about that. The first stimulus, first two, the only eligible dependents were children under the age of 17. The third stimulus, all eligible dependents were qualified. So that includes people with 17 and 18-year-old children. It includes people with adult dependents. So if you are caring for relatives, family members, etc., they also qualify for it. And as a result, about 10 million more people were eligible for the stimulus, the third round, than the earlier ones. The IRS is working very hard to get the third payments out to everyone that's eligible, including those who had changes in circumstances in 2020 or who had adult dependents. So I know that some of them are still going out, but there are people I know personally who have received sort of the catch-up payments. So the IRS is identifying who didn't get stimulus the first time and making sure that they're getting them this time around. If you're not sure where your payment is, if you're wondering, there is a way to check. So you can Google, where's my payment? And you will come to this page. The first link, get my payment, our Internal Revenue Service. Make sure that you want to make sure that you're hitting the irs.gov website. There are some scam websites out there, so make sure you're going to irs.gov in order to look for this. Once you click on this link, you will be taken to this page. Again, you know it's the IRS. You see the IRS logo there. And you're going to click on this button where it says Get My Payment. Then you come to this page, and this page looks very intimidating, but don't let it intimidate you. You are using the US government system for authorized use. Going to check on your own stimulus is an authorized use of this system. So go ahead and click the OK button, and you'll be taken to this page. Now you'll need to enter your information in this in order to check on this. They're going to want to know your social security number, your date of birth, your address, your street address, and your zip code. Make sure when you fill this out that you follow their format guidelines exactly. So just enter your 9-digit number, no hyphens. For your date of birth, make sure it's a 2-digit month and then a slash, a 2-digit day, a slash, and a 4-digit year. For your street address, make sure that you enter the street address, and if you have an apartment or unit number, don't write apartment or unit, just put the hashtag sign before the actual unit number, and do not enter city, state, or town, and then your 5-digit zip code. So again, you need to enter it exactly in this format. If you don't, you may get back a response that says information unknown, and you need to go back in and actually enter it exactly as the format requires. When you do enter your information, you will get this, okay? So this was mine. I received my stimulus on March 17th, and it had the bank account number. Any of these payments, whether it's a refund or whether it's a stimulus payment, if you have direct deposit information on file with the IRS, you actually receive it faster than if you're getting a paper check. But this is basically what you'll see if they do have direct deposit information on file. That includes folks who receive Social Security payments. Maybe you don't currently file taxes, but you receive Social Security payments and your Social Security payments are direct deposited. Again, some people may see where a response where the information is unknown. There's a couple of reasons why that might happen. Number one, as I mentioned, you may not have entered your information about yourself in the correct format. Number two, the IRS doesn't have your information on file. And the reason for that can be you haven't filed taxes in a number of years. I think there was another reason, and I can't remember it right now, but those are pretty much the two main reasons. You didn't enter the information in the correct format, or they don't have the information for you on file. And again, if they don't have information for you on file because you have not filed taxes, the VITA program can help with that. We can do a tax return for you solely to claim your stimulus check. There's So stimulus is not the only COVID tax relief that people have received. So in addition, unemployment is another big one. People who received unemployment income in 2020 can deduct up to $10,200 of unemployment from their taxable income. When you're doing your taxes, you don't deduct it yourself. You'll enter the full amount, and the tax software will actually deduct it automatically for you. If you filed your tax return already, reporting your unemployment compensation before the recent changes made by the American Rescue Plan, the IRS will correct the amount, and any resulting overpayment will either be refunded or applied to any other outstanding taxes owed. So you don't need to actually amend your taxes if you filed it before this change came into play. The IRS will actually do the amendment for you and send you the overpayment as long as you don't owe, okay? There's also been some changes related to retirement distributions. So first of all, if you received an early retirement distribution, and an early distribution is if you're not old enough yet to retire, but you already received a distribution from your retirement fund in 2020 due to the loss of income because of COVID-19, you are exempt from the 10% tax penalty. And if you choose, you can claim the distribution over 3 years. So you claim 1/3 of it on your 2020 tax return. Next year, you'd claim 1/3 on your 2021 tax return, and then the final third in 2022. Starting in 2020, a new law eliminated the longstanding 70.5 age limit for making contributions to traditional individual retirement accounts. So people who are still working or getting income at that age, you can still contribute to your IRA. And there was also a temporary waiver of the required minimum distribution rules. So you did not have to actually take money out of your IRA, even if you're at the age where you're old enough to do so. Okay. And finally, one of the big tax changes is the child tax credit. So it has been expanded. The new provisions will include, are increasing the $2,000 per child tax credit to $3,000 per child. And that will be actually increased to $3,600 for children under age 6. It is expanded to include 17-year-olds. I'm very excited about that because my child is turning 17 next year. So I have an additional year to claim this child tax credit. Families also no longer need earned income to claim the full credit. People received partial credit in the past if they didn't have earned income, and now it's going to be the full amount. And something they're also considering is an option for families to choose to receive it monthly, possibly monthly, possibly quarterly. So it would be $250 a month per child ages 6 to 17, or $300 per month for children under age 6, rather than as part of their tax return. So they're still trying to figure out that last option and how they're going to make it work. There are more details to come. So that's pretty much it. Those are some of the main changes that have occurred as a result of the various laws that have passed to help people regarding COVID-19 and some of the economic challenges. So that's it. And I thank you. I thank everyone for just your attention.
Thank you so much, Amy and Robert. Thank you to the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program and associated ministries and all the volunteers who are doing this important work across the county.